Before we get started with the regular council meeting, we're going to have a public hearing, and this will now open the public hearing on ordinance rezoning 114 North Pine Street from C1 general commercial to C2 office and institutional commercial. This is Lexington County TMS number 00720-06-005. This hearing is only for the public, and if anyone wishes to step up to speak on this rezoning, please do so now.
I think I spontaneously will do that. It just so happened when I went by the graveyard the other day to go by my parents' graves, I saw Mr. Bill Reynolds, and I remember because in 12 years, I missed 3 council meetings, far more than the council people and the mayor. I understand in a small town, we know each other, we have affection for each other, but when it comes to zoning, when it comes to zoning, you make the rules, you abide by the rules. Otherwise, you have capricious and arbitrary behavior, and it's just a matter of time for somebody, y'all are doing a favor, because you're setting a precedent that one day when somebody says, nah, you'll hear from my attorney. You've given them the platform, and believe me, it's going to happen, and it's going to be a slam dunk because we keep doing this. And yes, I do know because I'm here and I see it. Now, I have adoration and affection for the owners and what they want to do, but this has been done several times now. Either let's get rid of the zoning commission and it's the wild, wild west, or let's set the rules and nobody's above the rules and we abide by, because this is foolishness. It probably won't ever affect me, but I'm on the record, like I have been for a lot of things, saying a day will come and then people can look back and look at everybody's name here and everybody can figure out why this variance was allowed.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay, this closes the public hearing. And now I'd like to open up the regular council meeting, call to order at Batesburg-Leesville Town Hall. It is June the 7th. Welcome everyone, thanks for being here. It's good to see friendly faces and everyone out here. If I could, now let's start with the invocation. Mr. Charles Simpkins, would you do the honors, please?
Certainly. Let us pray together. Heavenly Father, we come now, Lord God, just thanking you, Lord, for another wonderful, glorious day that you blessed us with, Lord. We thank you, oh God, for divine health and strength, Lord God, in our bodies, Lord God, for a sound mind, Lord God, and Lord, for walking with us and talking with us, God, and leading us down the path of righteousness for your name's sake. We now ask you, Lord, to come into our midst and be for us what we cannot be for ourselves. But God, help us, give us the courage and the strength to be all that you created us to be. These blessings we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. We now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving on to item 4, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Simpkins, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Mitchell. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand, please. All opposed? Agenda is approved unanimously. Moving on to item number 5, adoption of minutes. We have 2 minutes this evening. The regular council meeting on May 14th. Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Prowse.
Second.
Second by Mr. Simpkins. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Passes adopted unanimously. Moving on to adoption of the minutes for the council work session on May 29th, 2018.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Simpkins. Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Prowse. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Minutes are adopted unanimously. Moving on to item 6, the mayor's report. Our next regular council meeting will be July the 9th, so mark your calendars to join us here. Moving on to item B, council committee's report. Olin Gambrell is not here to give us a report on the COG. Charles, do you have anything that you might want to add on the COG and your involvement?
Not at the same.
Thank you, sir. Item number 2, Environmental Planning Advisory Committee, Councilman Jason Prowse.
EPAC did not meet this month. I think our next scheduled meeting is slated for August. Nothing to report.
Very good. And I did meet with the Joint Municipal Water and Sewer Commission. This was on Wednesday, May the 9th. Let's see. What we did is we actually had a budget work session before that meeting, and then went over the budget, which is a little over 15 million, almost $16 million. They did a presentation and discussion of the master plan for the water distribution system for the joint municipal. If anyone would like to go over that with me, feel free to contact me. And that was about it. It was a really good meeting, very informative, learning about the process of their budgeting process. And now I'd like to call on Mike Taylor, if you would give us an update from the Batesburg-Leesville Chamber of Commerce. Mike.
Thanks, sir. The June meeting, it won't be until this Thursday. It falls after the town council meeting, so we have nothing to report from that. But I thought I'd give a report from the board meeting, and it's specifically what was reported from Councilman Brigham when he was at our meeting. And he basically went over again the roads that are going to be paved in town, which is like 7.6 miles. Then he went over about the paving of Highway 1, which is started at Broad Street and go to the county line, at the end of the county line, and the widening of Highway 1, which starts spring of 19 and come to the intersection of 23 and 1. And the reason he did that is because you're going to have the section from where one comes into 23 and 1 down to Broad Street that's not going to be paved, and everybody's going to be wondering why when they had that and that, they combined the two. And it's two separate, each one has their own funding, and the other hasn't been funded yet, so that's basically the reason. So if you hear any questions, that's why that section. Hopefully that'll be worked out between the pavings and when Highway 1 is finished. He also stated that they were in the middle of the budgeting process, that they had been requested $44 million over budget, that they had trimmed it down to $12.6 million increase, which is 2.171 million. That equates per $100,000 to $8.58 for primary homeowners and $13.03 for business owners. He also brought up a report, and I'm sure some of y'all have seen this in the paper, but that the fatalities in Lexington County, this was as of May 13th, was 34. And of course, there's not any one particular reason for this. It's various, but of course, the poor condition of some of our rural roads is one of them. Arts on the Ridge. We had our spring celebration this last Friday, in which we had Sam Phillips and Becky Hughes. She accompanied him, and so he performed. We had artists that donated items and for silent auction, and that evening we raised $1,176 for Arts on the Ridge. So approximately 54 children will be able to enjoy camps of visual arts and performing arts camps this summer through that event, and also through the support of businesses, individuals, and churches in our community and their generosity. I'd also am particularly there to report that y'all know this started maybe 3 years ago or somewhat. Arts on the Ridge has now received their letter from the IRS granting them 501(c)(3) status. So they will now be their own entity. So they will be out from under the chamber and have their own thing, be able to get grants and stuff from the arts. So that's exciting news. The Dream Catchers, they will begin their summer program. They will meet on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, as reported at the last council meeting. They just concluded a very successful Peachtree 23-yard sale there and raised some money for the youth team. I want to tell y'all that I have, at the chamber, we have a heart health screening Wednesday. It's been in the paper and so forth and on our social media. I have roughly 10 spots left. It begins at 7:30. My slots that are open from like 8:20 to 9:30. The screening will include blood pressure, blood sugar, and total cholesterol, HDL, LDL, and triglyceride. So if anyone's interested, I hope they would contact me at the chamber. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's my report.
That's great, Mike. Thank you for what you're doing at the chamber and what the chamber's doing.
Mike, I have a kind of question for you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, the Economic Development Committee, now, of all the businesses that have located here in Batesburg, how many were recruited and brought to the table by that committee?
Well, it's hard to say, Ms. Councilman, because a lot of them come to the chamber, sometimes ask questions and stuff like that. As far as the chamber going out and recruiting them here, I would say very few, okay? And if that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
What we do, sir, is somewhat like I reported last council meeting. We meet with people pertaining to highways, pertaining to other elements that hopefully will bring economic development here, okay?
Yeah. Are y'all working to recruit an industry into the blip? Are y'all working to recruit industry to the blip, to the Batesburg-Leesville Industrial Park?
Well, I'll put it to you this way, sir. Mike Eaves attends our meetings and keeps us updated of who, not of course who he's talking to, but what's going on there, and Councilman Brigham keeps us up to date as to what it needs to be done there and so forth. As I have said before, the days of my father's time and going and taking somebody for a boat ride out to Lake Murray and feeding them the state and then obtaining them and getting industry is gone. You got to have everything in order and then work through the Department of Commerce and stuff like that to get people in.
But now, what authority does that committee have?
But we have
Towards
no
the blip.
power or authority basically whatsoever, sir, other than giving information when asking for it.
Okay, I'm just confused because I was just taken to the woodshed about the blip. And my understanding, council allocated $2 million to do water and sewer out there at the blip, right?
Yes.
Okay, but nobody comes to council and briefs us on the progress or lack thereof of that industrial park. But they expect for us to support the industrial park. So I'm confused, and maybe Ted, you can work on that, but if the chamber, who has no authority over that blip, they have no resources for the blip, why are they getting the updates that council is not getting? That's my question. I'm just.
Mike?
I don't think, what type of report are you looking for?
Any report. I was taking
I don't think they can, if they, last time he was there, he said he had several people.
We don't.
Charles and I are there.
Okay, but council doesn't. You and Charles don't get to get up here and give us a report based on
Right.
what it
I
says.
understand that.
Well, all I'm saying is that I'm just a little frustrated that an individual came to me and questioned my feelings about that blood. And he's giving me information that I don't even have. He's like, well, how can you be against him? We doing this and this and this. I said, well, how do you know that? And he's saying, well, you know, he get it from the Chamber Economic Development. And I'm like, well, you got more information than I'm getting. And just because you're there, Mayor, and Charles is there, y'all don't give a report to council. Y'all don't give us an email or anything. We have no idea what's going on there. And we've committed millions of dollars to that project. I'm not getting on you, Mike. That's not your thing.
Sir, but the only thing I'm trying to tell you is I give you the reports that come from
I understand.
He cannot come and say XYZ company is interested in.
Not interested in that.
So
I just want to know why our county councilman and his staff, Lexington County staff, is briefing the Chamber of Commerce Economic Development Committee, who has no authority in that area. And instead of briefing council or council members in this setting, you come here, they need to give us maybe a workshop, keep us abreast of what's going on, because I'm ignorant when I'm out there in the street and people are telling me about what's coming to the industrial park, what's happening with the industrial park, and I don't know. So it's kind of frustrating to me that I don't know. I'm not blaming you or the committee or anything. I'm just want to put that out there that this council has allocated millions of dollars. We borrowed billions of dollars to put out there, and we're not getting information that I think we need in any fashion. So, I mean, the mayor and Charles side, a council does not make. The mayor is a council person like me, and Charles is a council person like me.
Never said it was.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's.
We're not being combative, Mayor, I'm just saying.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
And Councilman, also the information that's presented to that committee from our Economic Development Director and the Lexington County Representative is transferred to council every month by Mr. Taylor.
Like I said, Mike Taylor is a good man, and there's some good men on that committee, but they did not put their neck out there and vote for a $2 million water and sewer loan to put infrastructure out there. They're not on the hook for it. We are, and we need to have briefings by our county council person and whoever the staff is that's briefing the economic development. They have no authority there. We do. And it's only fair that we are responsible to our citizens and our constituents that we get that information firsthand, not secondhand. That's all I'm saying. So maybe, Ted, you can talk to Mr. Murgo, and, you know, even if it's a written report, it's fine, but I like to have council get something from the county about what they're doing when we put millions of dollars in that project. Sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
They don't, if you're not. Thank you, Mr. Kane. Anyone else? Thank you, Mike. Okay. Moving on to item 7, public comment regarding items on the agenda. Is there anyone, Ms. Judy, on the? All right. Moving on to item number 8, unfinished business. This is second reading ordinance rezoning 114 North Pine Street from C1 general commercial to C2 office and institutional commercial. Again, it's with the Lexington County TMS 007020-06-005. Do I have a motion?
Motion to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Simpkins. Do I have a second? No second. Motion fails. Moving on to item 9, new business. This is Resolution SCDOT Municipal State Highway Project Agreement relating to the TAP grant for sidewalk projects. Let's see, let me get to my page here. Give me just a second. Thank you. All right. Municipal State Highway Project Agreement, whereas the South Carolina Department of Transportation proposes to construct, reconstruct, alter, or improve certain segments of the highways in the state highway system referenced above, which are located within the corporate limits of the town of Batesburg-Leesville, hereafter city. Whereas the city wishes to authorize the construction and improvements of the aforesaid highways in accordance with plans to be prepared by the SCDOT project plans. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to SC Code 5758820, the city does hereby consent to the construction and improvements of the aforesaid highways within its corporate limits in accordance with the project plans. The foregoing consent shall be the sole approval necessary from the city for SCDOT to complete the project under the project plans and constitutes a waiver of any and all other requirements with regard to construction within the city limits. The foregoing waiver and consent shall also extend to the benefit of utility companies engaged in relocating utility lines on account of the project. Further, the city shall exempt all existing and new right-of-way and all other properties purchased in connection with right-of-way for the highways from any general or special assessment against real property for municipal services. Be it further resolved that the city will assist SCDOT in causing all water and sewer manholes, valves, or fire hydrants located within the existing right-of-way to be relocated at the city's expense, except where the city can demonstrate a prior right of occupancy. To the extent that city-owned utilities are to be relocated, those utility lines and/or apparatuses may be replaced upon the new highway right-of-way at such locations as may be approved by SCDOT. SCDOT shall not be liable for damages to property or injuries to persons as a consequence of the placing, maintenance, or removal of any utilities by the city or its contractors, future utilities installations by the city within the limits of the new right-of-way after project completion shall be pursuant to a standard utility encroachment permit obtained in the normal course and issued pursuant to SCDOT's A policy for accommodating utilities on highways right-of-ways. Be it further resolved that the city hereby signifies its intention to faithfully observe the provisions of Chapter 5, Title 56, Code of Laws of South Carolina, 1976, and all amendments thereto relating to the regulation of traffic on the street or streets to be constructed, reconstructed, altered, or improved as herein above identified, and further agrees to refrain from placing or maintaining any traffic control devices upon section of said street or streets without having first obtained written approval of the South Carolina Department of Transportation as required in SCE Code 565930, 1976 as amended, nor enacting any traffic regulation ordinance inconsistent therewith. Do I have a motion? In order to get the sidewalks done.
Yes.
Motion to
Adopt.
accept the resolution. Thank you. Motion by Deloche. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Prowse. Any discussion?
Can we get some, a little more clarification from that?
Yes, sir, I'd be happy to. This is a requirement of the TAP grant project, which is not the replacement of existing sidewalks, but rather the new sidewalks along Highway 23 and the replacement and new sidewalks along Highway 1 as a part of the TAP grant project. The resolution is required by DOT. This resolution, in a nutshell, is simply stating that as a part of this project, the town is responsible for any water or sewer infrastructure that may be impacted with the installation of the sidewalks. Tim Shumpert has reviewed the plans for the sidewalk. He has not found any conflicts that exist with any of our fire hydrants or valves or water meters at this point. Should that occur, what this resolution is saying is the town will remedy the situation, the conflict with, we may have to move a meter back or move a fire hydrant a few feet over. All of that is low impact, low cost, should that occur, but based on the plans that he's reviewed, there are no impacts shown. So this resolution is simply our commitment that if there's an impact, we will take care of that. On a side note, there is legislation in the State House that has not been passed yet related exactly to this, and that is any DOT projects, if that law is passed, DOT would bear the cost of relocation of utilities or any components of a utility system moving forward in the future.
Low impact, meaning that the cost to the town.
Right, so the cost to move a meter, we're not buying a new meter. We would simply be adding a few feet of maybe PVC pipe to extend that meter one direction. Or if we have to move a fire hydrant, we may have to add a couple feet of the line to move the fire hydrant back. In this particular situation, we don't think we're going to be impacted in any way based on the plans. But if we do have to move a hydrant a few feet, you're talking a couple hours labor and a couple feet of pipe that may have to be added.
Which we can do with our current employee.
Correct.
Now, on Highway 23, we're referring from North Lee Street up to
North Lee to Walmart Shopping Center.
and you said that our engineer has reviewed the plans.
Correct.
Now, from driving up 23 in that section, it looks like it's not going to be a simple construction project.
It would not.
Which side are they planning to put?
They're going on the not the side with Columbia Farms, but the side of the road that actually Burger King, Taco Bell, and Walmart's on.
Which is very hilly and rocky and stuff.
In some spots it'll be close to the road, and in some spots it'll move away from the road, just depending on what portion of the roadway it is.
Any other discussion? Okay. District 1,
Yes.
2, 3,
District three votes yes.
4,
District 4 votes yes.
5. District 5,
Yeah.
thank you. District 6,
District 6 votes yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
and I vote yes. The resolution passes. Moving on to next item, discussion approval of council appointments to the Planning Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals, and Hospitality Tax Advisory Panel. It is recommended by staff that the council approve the above slate of candidates to the Planning Commission, Zoning Board of Appeals, and H-Tax Advisory Panel. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Prowse,
Second.
second by Mr. Mitchell. Any discussion?
Do we have the names of these individuals?
It's in the packet.
Actually, that's an update.
There's an updated memo.
I mean, if you'd like, I can run through what's been submitted if you'd like.
It's right here.
Okay.
Oh, we just got it.
Send the packet. That's just an updated copy.
The highlighted,
So the highlighted ones are the ones, and would you like for me to run through?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Okay, for the planning commission, we have one appointment that has been recommended for District 7. Jay Swallow has been recommended to fill that spot. For the Board of Zoning Appeals, the mayor has recommended Kevin Duggins as a new appointment in the at-large seat. And District 6, Mr. Mitchell has recommended Susan Whittle for the Board of Zoning Appeals. For the H-Tax Advisory Panel, the mayor has recommended Tish Jeffcoat. District 1, Daphne Ridgel. District 2, Lamb Price. District 3, Bob Hall. District 4, Jermaine Barr. District 5, Pansy Bazard. District 6, Lois Black. District 7, Philip Gross. And District 8, Burnett Hamilton. Those are all the new appointment recommendations that were submitted.
All the ones that are highlighted.
Yes, sir, all the ones that you see highlighted on that sheet.
We still have some vacancies.
We do. We would still have a couple vacancies. It looks like 1 to the Planning Commission and 2 vacancies to the Board of Zoning Appeals. And speaking with those members, they are actively trying to find people, and once they find them, they'll bring them back to a future meeting for approval.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I have an issue with the hospitality committee because there is no infrastructure for that committee to operate. The planning committee and the Board of Appeals committee, their rules as to their roles and how they operate, because they are, recognized committees from the state, I imagine. But the hospitality...
They are.
Okay, so but the hospitality committee, if they were to meet, how do they select the chairperson? Do they take notes? Are their recommendations binding to council? It's just it's not well thought out for us to appoint people to a committee. Has no rules. They have no structure.
A recommendation can't be binding.
Well, I understand. I'm just saying, you know that, I know that, but when these people meet and they get in a room,
It'll be explained and there'll be education.
well, explain it to us first before we vote on it. Somebody explain it to me. What do they do?
That's what you have to, you gotta
Okay. They go in the room and meet.
I'm going to facilitate like we had discussed.
Yeah.
We've discussed this advisory panel and committee. in
How does it
work
work,
session.
Mayor? Tell me.
Well, I'll facilitate the meetings. They don't have voting power over council.
Wait,
We have the
so you're going to chair the meetings, and then you're going to come back and vote on the project.
I'm not. I picked someone.
So what are you doing at their meetings?
Facilitate the meeting.
Why? There's no council members at the planning committee meeting or the Board of Appeals meeting. Why would a council person be at
That's
that
what we
meeting?
agreed on.
I didn't agree on it.
The motion made last meeting was made that the mayor would lead the advisory panel. And I don't remember exactly how the vote went, but I think it was close to a unanimous approval, if not unanimous.
But really, do you think it's right for him to be in there and he's gonna vote?
No, I'm not going to vote. I'm not going to vote in that meeting.
I'm talking about this vote on
I'm
council.
not talking about in the meeting, you're gonna vote here on council. So why are you in their meeting? I don't think you should be there.
And
It's fine, but that's just.
No, he shouldn't be there
I mean-
because he's gonna come back and vote with us on
We
something.
can
just to be clear, the motion was stated that the committee would be overseen by the mayor.
I must have been wrong
It
when
was
y'all
a
said
second,
that.
and it was an 8-1 vote with only 1 no vote.
Who was
I must not
And that
have
was
been here.
Councilmember Mitchell.
But I wasn't here when you did that.
You voted to accept that.
I mean, I don't care. I'm just saying that just don't. They don't really.
I mean,
I'm not going down. I'm not going down that hill, buddy.
That's
But
dead wrong.
I'm just saying
that's
assuming
wrong for
I'm,
you to be in there and then gonna come back and vote with council for something that they.
it's a public committee not codified by the
You
state
wrong.
that has no power over council.
You wrong.
This might, I have a question, but it may be a budgetary question. And I think I asked you that, Ted, you never got back to me on the email. What that's in the general fund budget, are you planning to transfer to pay for through hospitality funds? What do they alleviate from the general fund?
Well, that would certainly be dependent upon council when we go to build the first budget, based on what the committee the advisory panel, let me say advisory panel, not committee. That's certainly something they're gonna come up with a list of projects. If the hospitality tax is something that council approves, that'll be a decision by council whether they want to alleviate anything from the general fund or whether they just want it to be a project driven on the hospitality tax.
Okay.
That would be
that's where I get real fuzzy.
It's a
there.
brain trust. It's involved.
It's
in
a
the
brain
community.
trust, but
It's involved in the community,
What-
and it's what we've wanted. It's what we've discussed.
okay. But did you hear what Ted just said?
Hmm?
That some money from hospitality may go to alleviate expenditures that are currently in the general fund.
We have
Can you
not.
promise me that none of the money from
We have not,
hospitality
the ordinance
will do
for the hospitality tax has not been written, we've not approved it. Right now, we're talking about the advisory panel, for which everyone has picked someone to represent the community.
that? I'm saying, but
To
Mayor,
have a
can
community
you
voice.
promise
I
right now that none of that
I have
hospitality
not-
money is
I have
gonna be
not
used?
seen, there is no
Okay, Ted, can
ordinance
you
for
promise
me.
that you're not gonna
There's
use
no, it's no ordinance,
Okay,
there's no
now
ordinance on the
we're
hospitality tax.
now we're getting the dancing. Now the dancing starts. Okay. All right.
In terms of the mayor sitting in on those committee meetings, the mayor is an ex officio of any committee established.
I'm not
by council.
arguing that. Well, my issue with Charles is this, that some of that hospitality money is gonna go towards,
That's not, we're not there.
okay.
I'm sorry, let's keep moving. Any other discussion on the advisory panel on the names?
If you gonna sit on one, you can sit on all. That's what I'm saying.
The others are codified by the state of South Carolina. I could sit in on them if yeah.
But you wanna be on this one so you can control how things go.
Councilwoman, anybody can
I
sit.
really
Every one of
don't.
us. Hold on,
I
Mayor,
really,
am I
really
not
don't.
clear?
I really don't want to control any of it, no, I don't.
You do.
Okay. Now, any council person can sit in.
Getting ready to whack this thing.
Let me have it.
No.
Okay.
Steve, please,
Yeah.
address.
Okay, so any council member can sit in on any committee meeting. You just don't vote. Okay. So you just get ready
I
to
think
sit
it's
there with
important
Cheryl.
I think it's important for precedents of committees being set that this committee be successful.
I understand, but it just.
I think it's,
So I'm gonna sit on.
I think it's important
I understand.
that this committee be successful in order to set a precedent.
That be appointed.
No, I think, no, it's any other discussion? Any other discussion?
So I can come to the meetings too?
These committees can.
Feel free.
Thank you very much. I will be at every one of them.
Absolutely. Awesome. Does anyone else have any other discussion on the advisory panel that I tried to set up to help the citizens of Batesburg-Leesville and increase transparency for a hospitality tax to move our city forward? Does anyone else have any other discussion on that on the council?
About what? Me and Charles talking about something totally different.
May I call for the vote, please?
Yes.
Keep quiet.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
District 2's not here, but
sorry,
in
District 3.
his absence.
Yeah. District 3, please.
District 3 votes yes.
District 4,
District 4 votes yes.
District 5,
Yeah.
District 6,
District 6 would like to say thanks to those folks who've agreed to step up to the plate and serve, and I vote yes.
Amen.
District 7,
District 7 votes yes.
District 8,
Yes.
and the mayor votes yes. The motion to approve the planning commission, board of zoning appeals and hospitality tax advisory panel has passed unanimously. Moving on. Item C, new business, first reading ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget for the town.
Motion to adopt.
I'm pausing, hold on, I'll read it. I'll read it.
I didn't want to go too far.
Has everyone read their packet, or shall I read this? Okay. Ordinance to adopt an annual budget. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Deloach,
Second.
second by Mr. Prouse. Any discussion? Please address the mayor.
Mr. Mayor,
Thank you.
the other things that we discussed in our work session, the money that was in that lockbox, that's not in there, right? Correct?
It is not.
Okay, amen. Amen.
No, this is the same budget that was presented at the work session minus the PowerPoint.
Amen.
Yes, absolutely. Any other discussion on first reading?
Is it budget balance?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry. Yes, sir.
All right, District 1,
Yes.
District 2, District 3, sorry,
District 3 votes no.
District 4,
District 4 votes yes.
District 5,
You know, I really don't approve of that budget. I vote no.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
and I vote yes. The ordinance for the budget first reading passes. Okay. Moving on to item 10, manager's report. Mr. Luckadoo, if you would, take the stand. Put your right hand on the Bible, repeat after me. Just kidding. Item A, C Fund sidewalk repairs.
All right. As you may remember, last meeting we selected CDB Incorporated to perform the $40,000 in sidewalk repairs to existing sidewalks throughout town. They will be beginning work within the next 2 weeks on those sections. We did send out letters to all the property owners that live right there in the area where all those existing repairs are going to be made, just letting them know that contractors will be performing sidewalk repairs around and near their house for a short period of time, and to be expecting that to occur. Again, just to recap, West Church Street between Pine and Fox, East Church Street between Shumpert and Bernard Street, West Columbia Avenue between Oak and Peachtree Street, East Columbia Avenue between Bojangles and Zaxby's, West Church Street between Fox and Raven Streets, Line Street behind Quick Carry, and 203 to 2017 East Columbia Avenue through that stretch. And that's all I have.
Were there any changes to that list, additions or deletions since the last time we saw the map and everything?
No, sir.
Thank you. Item B, CDBG sewer lift station improvements.
Okay. They have finally began work. All the drawings and control panels were designed, approved, and stamped by engineers. So work has begun on the North Lee sewer lift station. If you're familiar with our gun range, our shooting range, and our lemon leaf landfill, that sewer lift station is on that property. They began there on Tuesday, June 5th. At this point, they have installed the bypass piping that each of the lift stations are going to get. They've installed the conduit, which will lead to the new emergency backup generator that will be installed later. This is the first of 4 sewer lift stations that are going to have bypass piping, emergency generator, SCADA, pumps, and new control panels installed. Again, just as a reminder, this work is expected to last until the August-September timeframe. And we'll keep you updated as more lift stations begin work.
Item C, City Council Managers Conference Report.
All right, the City County Managers Conference. Had the opportunity to attend that conference May 31st through June 3rd. The sessions this year focused on the new opportunity zones that have been created in the state, as well as the opioid epidemic, which I believe every conference we've attended over the past year has had discussion revolving around the opioid epidemic. It also held sessions on managing the new workforce. Something that I didn't know is that the new workforce today has 5 different generations that are actually consist of the workforce today. And certainly every generation that exists has differences in the way that they work. And trying to manage those differences can be difficult at times. And so the focus was about working more collaboratively together between the generations, trying to fill those gaps that exist between them to have a better workflow in the workplace. With regards to the opioid epidemic, again, it was just focusing on the problem that's mounting and continuing everywhere nationwide throughout our entire state, and focus was placed on ways and sources that people can seek to receive treatment and how the different treatments work. So really it's just educating the public, getting out there. But public policy is something that's still being worked on to try and figure out a way to combat this epidemic. As far as the opportunity zones, this was something that, quite frankly, I will tell you, I had no clue was taking place. I get a call one day and just said, hey, Batesburg-Leesville is an opportunity zone. And I'm like, what is that? I have no clue. And they're like, well, nationwide, they came up with a new federal program where they wanted to create opportunity zones throughout the nation. So they passed it on to the state levels and asked the states to identify certain census tracts within their state that would be labeled as opportunity zones. And I can tell you that the town of Batesburg-Leesville, the North Lee Street Road that runs 245, if you just take and draw a line on that and go west, that whole section of town is classified as an opportunity zone. And so we talked through more about what that means. What it is it's for investors. They can invest within an opportunity zone, and it will provide them with certain tax credits and access to different funding sources. Now, the IRS has not finished establishing what the tax code is going to be around the opportunity zone, so they're still not sure exactly what those incentives are going to be, but the IRS is trying to finalize what those laws are going to be and what breaks are going to be given to these investors that develop within these opportunity zones. The last thing that was really focused on was civilian response to the active shooter events. Really the focus was on the continued training that towns and cities need to do to be prepared for active shooter events should they occur. I do know that our police department works closely with the Lexington County Sheriff's Department, with the EMS. Our fire department has become involved in these drills in training for active shooter incidents, from a medical to law enforcement to how can fire departments assist. And I know that we do big collaborative training efforts together on active shooter incidents.
Do we use the tank?
I know that between Lexington County, Lexington, and everybody that has them, they will generally bring any and all special types of vehicles that they have together to train with them. Okay. We did work on some drills, breathing techniques, and how to control one thing that when you get hit with quick high blood pressure spikes and rapid pulse and heartbeat, you do lose, you do gain tunnel vision and loss of hearing and loss of mobility. A lot of times your fingers go numb, you lose tactile function in your body. And so they talked about combat breathing techniques that can help you to resolve these situations. And if you're curious, count to 4 while breathing in, hold your breath, counting to 4, and then exhale, counting to 4. And that is combat breathing techniques that are supposed to help. So that was some of the things that we learned during the City County Managers Conference.
Wait, I have a question, Mayor. Oh, thank you. I'm not sure what you will believe. All right, so now who on your staff is responsible for following up on the opportunity zone? Because Senator Tim Scott is big on that. He spoke at the National League of Cities luncheon about that.
His Orangeburg representative was actually at the meeting. I got a chance, Mr. Jenkins, I believe it was,
Right.
got the opportunity to meet.
Is Pat following that up for you?
Right now, at this point, Pat has not been involved in opportunity zones.
Okay.
Again, this is very new.
Okay, we got a good idea. I'm just trying to figure out. You bringing back good information.
Right.
Who on your staff is going to follow up on that information?
I will likely be following up on opportunity zones and what occurs with that.
Okay, so you're the point person on that?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
I have a question. With the ROLL program, are you familiar with that through DHEC, the Narcan administration?
I am aware of the Narcan that
It's
we
part
have
of the Leon
access.
program. Has the fire department considered being part of the Narcan program sponsored by DHEC?
We have had discussion, Wallace, Jay, myself, we have not moved to access the Narcan at this point, but we have had some general discussion about it.
I believe September is when the ROLL program comes out in full swing, just for your information.
All right, we'll follow up on that.
Is that an issue, Ted? Do we have a heroin issue here?
I don't think anybody can say that they're exempt from the heroin situation.
I don't know, I'm just asking.
It's mostly prescription drugs, Councilman Kane, they're dealing with fentanyl, all that stuff.
I'm just asking, because I didn't see that.
It's countywide, sir. There's no specific demographic that's affected.
Okay.
Ted, also, in addition to the opioid epidemic and the active shooter events, are we doing anything to remedy or combat gang violence in the community, since we are now experiencing drive-by shootings in the community?
Certainly, that is something I know that we have had a discussion about recently between us. I know that Wallace and I have had some discussions. We did have a specific gang task force officer. That officer did leave to go accept new employment somewhere else. And so we do have somebody temporarily serving in that role until we find a permanent person to assign to the gang task force that exists in Lexington County and to begin working with them.
How short are we on officers at this point?
Right now, three right now.
Three, I believe 3 short.
Correct.
Can we freeze those?
Thank you. On to item D, if you would, please. NLC prescription discount cards.
Yeah.
Okay. With regards to the National League of Cities prescription discount cards, I would encourage anyone here tonight to grab one on your way out. As a part of our membership to the National League of Cities, we have joined up in the prescription discount card program. I would like to thank Councilman Kane for coming to me and pushing me to sign up for this and encouraging to get this out into the community. I know years ago we did have this in place and then it kind of went away, but we have got this back now. I will tell you, anyone is eligible to use the prescription discount card. Just want to share a little bit of information tonight with everybody. The discount card does not usually cover over-the-counter products and non-prescription medication. However, discounts are available for many diabetic supplies. So anyone that may be a diabetic, this can not only help with prescriptions that maybe your insurance doesn't cover, and I'll get to that in a second, but some of your diabetic supplies it can assist with. The plan is not an insurance plan. It is simply a prescription discount program. It does provide immediate discounts at the pharmacy. You will pay the lower of a discounted price or the pharmacy's regular retail price. The card cannot be used in conjunction with other insurance. However, you are able to use your card to purchase prescriptions that are not covered by your insurance plans. Lastly, the certain medications are available for pets who have human ailments such as arthritis, diabetes, or obesity. These are included with the prescription discount program as well.
Did you say that? You said obesity.
Yeah, animal obesity. Pet obesity is there's certain that can qualify for prescription. Hey man, I'm just giving you what they tell me.
I've got 1 out of 2, Mr. Kane, at my house that is really eating the cat food, and he's. Please continue.
The last thing with regards to this, the cards can, for anyone who's interested in getting a prescription discount card, the local pharmacies that accept this card are Morgan's Pharmacy, which is the old Owen Drugs, Walgreens, CVS, Apothecary, and Walmart pharmacies.
And these are available to any citizen of Batesburg-Leesville here at Town Hall, correct?
There is no eligibility, anyone is eligible to use it.
That's awesome.
You said only if you do not have insurance.
This will not provide a discount to something that your medical insurance is covered.
So it's something that if you do not have coverage for it, you can get a discount.
Right. If your insurance will not cover a certain prescription that you have, this discount card will provide it.
These will be available also at those pharmacies.
We have delivered these prescription cards to the pharmacies in town so that they have them.
Fantastic.
And certainly we're trying to get them out to the senior center and leisure center and different areas.
They both in Spanish and English, right?
They did provide them in both.
They did?
They did.
Okay. And can I say something else, Mayor?
I'm gonna
Publix grocery store will provide free lisinopril. If y'all know anybody that's on high blood pressure medicine, lisinopril, they will fill that prescription for free. And there's another prescription that kind of goes along with lisinopril, and they will provide that at Publix for free.
That's only 30 days.
90 days.
30 days.
No, 90 days. No, they'll give you 90 days on it.
Very good. Thank you. On to item 11, executive session, we have 2 items for this evening. Discussion of contractual matters relating to advanced disposal contract. Discussion of possible contractual matters relating to the water project. Do I have a motion to enter executive session?
So moved.
Mr. Mitchell, and a second by Mr. Simpkins. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? And we are in executive session.
Yes.
Motion has been made by Mr. Simpkins to return to regular session. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Mitchell. I'll give it to him. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? And we are back in regular session. Possible actions by council and follow-up to executive session. Do I have any motions?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the contract, the advanced disposal for the next 5 years at a rate of $2.10.
Whoa, $12.10? I vote for that.
$12.10.
Restate the motion, please.
Oh.
In the amount of $12.10.
We have a motion on the table by Mr. Simpkins that we accept the contract with advanced disposal as stated. The second? By Ms. Holland. Any discussion? District 1?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
District 4 votes yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The contract has been approved over the next 5 years. Any other actions? Moving on to item 13, potential agenda items for next month's meeting, July the 9th, 2018.
Mayor, I would recommend that we have discussion on our travel and expense reimbursement for council at our next work session to discuss the way that funds are distributed to council for reimbursement.
Travel reimbursement for council, okay. Anything else?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, we've been talking about fat dogs and cats.
Agenda items for next month's meeting, yes.
Okay, so I'd like to put that my basketball court for some fat kids on the agenda so that we can address that issue and have some exercise for kids so that they don't have to go on medication. And
Okay.
I don't understand, what do I need?
It's not a time for discussion on it, and we will certainly get it on the agenda.
Okay, one more thing. How do I get a white paper from staff about my idea for tuition, free tuition for high school students going on to college for 2 years? I mean, y'all can. That's good. I'm gonna talk about it until.
Well, I mean,
whenever. So I'd like to see a white paper on it.
if you would like to have make it part of a work session discussion,
That'd be fine.
okay.
I mean, y'all can vote yes or no on it, but that's something that I'm gonna pursue. But I had asked for a white paper on it.
So on a future work session.
Oh, it's not gonna be on the next work session, just a future one.
Well, I think we're not going to have one in July.
Okay. All right.
Anything else? Potential agenda items.
Has the schedule been changed for July?
Teddy, has the schedule been changed for July? I know our work sessions were not in stone, I believe.
No, I mean, the regular meetings are set in stone. As far as the work sessions, they're 2 weeks later on Mondays. I mean, certainly if council wanted to agree to take a month, or didn't need to have a work session 1 month, or wanted to take a break, or wanted to let vacation season end, whatever the case may be, when it comes to a work session, there's no formal reason or way that you have to cancel a work session. You can just do it.
Okay.
That's certainly up to y'all. It doesn't need a formal vote to not have it or anything.
Any other discussion on?
What is the June work session?
25th.
And so the tuition is not going to be discussed on the 25th? We're not going to have time to discuss that?
That night, I know we'll start with the special meeting that night to have second reading of the budget. Certainly, we can flow from special meeting to work session for any work session
I don't need
items.
it to be a
that we want.
total discussion, but I like to have some numbers to figure out if this thing is real or what. Right now, we're looking at about $500,000.
Can you bring the numbers?
Sir?
Are you able to bring those numbers?
That's what I'm asking staff. I can bring numbers, but if they're just going to be torpedoed, I want to see what's out there from staff.
There's a lot more. No.
$500,000.
If this is something the council wants, there's a lot more information that needs to be discussed before we can start nailing down numbers. Are we going to limit it to certain colleges? Because certain colleges have different tuition rates.
College of Batesburg-Leesville.
So,
Well,
we got a dead.
We've got it as a, and then we haven't made the agenda yet for that work session, but it's possible we put it on that work session if we feel like we have enough.
I think we start with a general discussion to set the parameters of what we would even need to look into if council wanted us to look into that. That's all I'm saying is, I can't go get numbers without just nothing.
I'll help you get the numbers, Ted. I'll tell you what the idea is, my idea. If we sit down and have coffee, I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
What I'm
You know I
looking
like
for
coffee.
and,
You know I like coffee. I have coffee.
Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Deloach, second by Mr. Kane. All in favor, raise your right hand. And we all opposed? We're adjourned.